Welcome to Spirit-Led Radio. I am your host, Heather Christian Strang, and this week we are talking about trust, which is such a fundamental part of our life experience. Because no doubt you've had experiences, as I have, where we look back on them and we think, I don't know that I can trust myself in that particular area because I didn't make a super great choice. And when we are on this path of living Spirit-led, trust is fundamentally critical to us being able to live the fullness of our life experience. Why? Because we need to be able to trust life, we need to be able to trust Spirit, and most importantly, we've got to be able to trust ourselves, because trust gives us that groundedness, that sense of security, that sense of peace, and knowing that all is well and that we are really taken care of. It's not just some nice sentiment that we say like, oh yeah, all is well, we're supported, everything's happening for me. We need to trust it and know it in every cell of our body. And yet trust is one of the critical components that is often missing for folks who are not feeling especially fulfilled and passionate and powerful about their life experience. So today we're going to talk about trust, the nature of it, why it's important, and how you can trust yourself more on this life journey. And then we've got a question that's come in that I'm super excited to talk more about trusting guidance that comes in from a mentor, an outside source, and trusting yourself. So this is all flowing together so beautifully. And we'll also be talking a little bit about dating, I believe, here too, to answer the question. So we've got an action-packed episode for you. This will be the last episode for the next 3 months, as far as I know. Of course, my work in the world is fully Spirit-led, so that's what I know at this point, because I'm going deep diving into it for 92 days for my program Spirit-Led Mastery, which begins May 3rd, and all of my attention and focus will be going to my folks in that program and to my mentorship clients. So enjoy this, soak it up, and we'll see what Spirit brings in terms of future episodes. So trust is not something that we just naturally are going to have at this stage in the game. When we come into the world, we've got trust, right? We've got to, right? We have to trust that our caretakers are going to care for us. Now, depending on our particular life experience, that trust gets validated or invalidated. But we're going to start here with where we're at in this lifetime. So as I started this episode, many of us have had the experience of looking back and being like, I'm not so sure I can trust myself because I didn't make great choices in that experience. I'm not so sure I can trust God or Spirit. I'm not so sure I can trust life to support me because this thing and that thing happened. Yet without a sense of trust, life feels scary and it puts us in a state of fear. And so trust is really innate within us when we allow ourselves to peel back that fear. So this has been a really fun discovery for me, that as I worked with the fear and was present with the fear and loved the fear, what was underneath it was a natural knowing, a natural trust that I was fully supported, that I was fully supported in every moment, and that I was held and taken care of. Where did that trust come from? I didn't have that trust based on my life experience. There was nothing in my life experience except for the fact that I was still here to say that I could have that trust. But as I worked with those limitations and that conditioning within myself and the fears within myself, what revealed itself to me was this natural state of trust. So I'm going to assert here that deep within you too is this natural place of trusting, of knowing that you are fully supported, that you are a divine being on a divine journey, and that your life has purpose for the simple fact that you are here, and that you have very specific gifts that you're here to give to the world, and you will be fully supported in carrying out those gifts. Now, just like when we're in relationship with someone, we develop trust. So it's important for us to develop trust with ourselves. So once I found, that innate trust in the universe, in God, in Spirit, however you want to frame it, that innate trust is there. I do have this deep knowing that I am fully supported, but I'm not so sure I trust myself even. And so what I had to do was build a relationship of trust with myself. And so the next piece of this trust aspect is being able to nurture the trust and build the trust within yourself as you also build it in your life experience. Because I can hear some of you saying, well, I'm not sure I can trust life to support me. And I hear you. But I want to encourage you to go deeper in your exploration of this. And the way to do that is to meditate every day and to begin to work with the magic, to quiet your mind, to begin to soften and soothe any of that negative momentum that says you can't trust, and then to begin to see what is revealed. But let's go back to building this relationship of trust with ourselves. How do you do that? Well, there's some specific ways that I found that you can really learn to trust yourself. And so I'm going to share that with you today. And of course, as is always, honor what feels most aligned to you from what I share. And anything that feels off to you, take it in for further exploration. Take it into your meditation practice. Take it in with your connection to spirit and get the meaning that wants to be made known to you. So that leads me right into one of the first ways that you learn to trust yourself is you develop a relationship with yourself and you make it a priority to show up for yourself. You make it a priority to have integrity with yourself. And that means honoring and nurturing your time with you. So often we're going from this thing to that thing. We're reaching outside of us for the answers to our questions. We're looking everywhere externally for our satisfaction, for our happiness, for our clarity, for our path. But it's completely unnecessary because we have access to it, at the very least, within us. So when we look back on those life experiences and we say, I don't know if I can trust myself because I don't trust myself with that person, right? We hear people say that, I don't trust myself in that area of my life. That is because a conscious, focused relationship has not been created with ourselves so that we can trust ourselves. And in that trust comes realness, comes authentic understanding. So here's the deal. You can trust yourself to take action, to get clarity about what you need. This is not a matter of, I have all of the answers already. I don't need any support. I don't need any help. I've got it all covered on my own. But you trust that you will take care of yourself. You will give yourself the time, the space, the mentors, the support, the community, whatever it is, to take care of yourself. So trust is multifaceted. And in Spirit-Led Mastery, the program that I lead beginning May 3rd, we attune you to 3 stages of trust, really allowing you to trust yourself, trust spirit, and trust life. And we attune you to your ability to do those 3 things because that gives you the solid foundation you need so that every action that you're taking, every piece of the magic that you are following, you can trust. You trust yourself because you're showing up and you have integrity to follow through with yourself. You trust life, you trust spirit, you trust the universe because you know ultimately it is here for you, it is here to support you. And when you walk into the world in that place of trust, you've got groundedness, you're solid, you're stable. Things come up and you may not know exactly what the answer is for you in that moment, but you trust yourself to make the time and take the energy to get clear in the way that you need to. One of the adages that I used to live by, and I used to say all the time is, just trust yourself, trust your intuition, right? We hear that, trust yourself, trust your intuition. Well, we want to be clear. Yes, trust yourself and trust your intuition and love yourself enough to develop and nurture that relationship with your trust so that your intuition is clear. Okay, so here's what you need to know about your intuition. This was like a huge news flash for me. Your intuition has to come through all of your stories to get to your conscious mind. So you have your super conscious mind. That's your connection to your higher self. That's where all mystical spiritual experiences, that's where we like to live. And the programs I facilitate, the work that I do, we are really nurturing and strengthening that connection with our super conscious mind, with that deeper part of us. And then the next piece of the work that I do is nurturing that relationship with our sub super conscious mind, which is our insight and intuition. But here's the deal, guys. In order for those 2 magical pieces to come through to your conscious mind, they got to go through the subconscious mind and the subconscious mind, which is the attractor field that holds a vibrational hybrid of experiences that you've had, positive, negative, good, quote unquote good, quote unquote bad. Which means your ability to translate your intuition and quote unquote trust yourself is only as clear as you are. Right? So back in the day when I was first starting this journey, I'd be like, oh, my intuition told me to do that. And whatever that was. And so I would just be like, yeah, my intuition told me. I didn't understand that there was a clarifying process that needed to happen. If I wasn't doing my work, my intuition was having to filter through all of my stories, which means my ability to translate it clearly was not something I could trust. And I learned that many times. And I was like, wait, but I'm supposed to trust myself and trust my intuition. Yeah, but you're also supposed to do your work, which nobody says, right? They're like, trust yourself, trust your intuition. And so I will add to that, make your relationship with yourself and your spiritual development your number one priority, and then trust your intuition. We all have blind spots. We all have areas we can't see. We all have aspects that just aren't clear to us because we're too emotionally close to it, and that's okay. That's why Spirit created all of these amazing healers and helpers and supporters, because we do it for each other. We look out for each other. My mentors have mentors, right? We're all taking care of ourselves and trusting that we will get to the clarity that we need, but also we are authentic and real and understanding we don't have all the answers because we've got stories going on. That Spirit is beaming down the answers and clarity to us every day, all day, but it has to go through our subconscious and our subconscious, which means sometimes it can come out muddled. So I give the various examples in my own journey when I've translated something some way, like I kept seeing this orchard and I kept seeing this cherry tree and I was like, oh, I have to buy an orchard. No, that was not the guidance. That was not the message, but that's how I translated it because my filters have a very strong over-responsibility syndrome that I am still working forward. I'm still evolving forward, which means I get a piece of it, guidance, and I will immediately take it to this huge place when I could just be like, I'm just going to stay on the lookout for an orchard. I'm just going to stay on the lookout for a cherry tree. But for me, because I want to take ownership and I'm like, I'm going to go out there and do things. I'm going to be super responsible and get stuff done. I took it to a whole other level. Oh, I have to buy this. No, I just get to adopt a tree in an orchard. Or I get to visit an orchard, or all the different ways an orchard may continue to show up for me. So I give that example because I want you to understand this is my work in the world. I meditate every day for as long as I can. I'm communing with higher consciousness. And yet when I get guidance for myself, it often is not 100% crystal clear, which is why I have supporters to help me and why I have to have trust in Spirit and in life to show me the clarity. That I may not have the full piece, but I've picked up one piece and I'm going to gently take this piece with me and see where it leads me. So it's bringing us into a very balanced place. What I'm sharing with you is a very balanced place to live. You do not have all of the answers for you. You have access to all of the answers for you, but you do not have them now. There is the process of releasing the limiting beliefs, releasing the fears, releasing the traumas. That is our journey of evolution that we're all on. You have the ability to trust yourself and following through for yourself and showing up for you. That's where we want the trust. I trust that even though I don't understand what's happening right now, even though I can't fully see what this situation is or what's happening for me, I trust that because I love myself so much, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that clarity. I'm going to increase my meditation. I'm going to make sure I have a few more clearing sessions. If you do energy medicine of whatever kind you feel called to. I obviously am a huge fan of body talk. I feel it is the number one way to release limiting beliefs, fears, and traumas, but you follow where you feel that soul resonance with a practitioner or with a modality. I trust that I'm going to work with my mentor. When I had all the different guidance that was coming up for me and I couldn't quite make sense of it, I take it to my mentor and I say, here's what I'm getting. Right? And the mentor says, hey, you don't have to buy the orchard. Just take a step back. Just relax. Let Spirit show you the next step. Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. I don't have to do it all right here, right now. Right? So we develop this strong trust in ourselves that we will never let ourselves down. We will be there for us no matter what comes. And then we develop a very strong trust in Spirit and in life to support us, knowing that it is supporting us for the highest good. So that when things happen and we've surrendered into something, or we followed a nudge, or we followed what we thought was an intuition, and we get there and we're like, what the hell is this? We can trust that the way will be made. It'll be made known. We'll have more clarity at another time. My guides always say to me when I'm in the middle of something and I'm like, guys, I don't understand what's happening. They're like, you will though. You will. When you are in the emotional triggered state, or when you're in the state of being attached to the outcome, it's impossible to see with clarity. But that's why you have support. That's why you have a mentor. That's why you have, your community. That's why you have the tools that you have. We've got the transmissions from the JOGs. We've got meditations. We've got all of these high vibrational ways that we can come back and we can return back to the trust. So this peace and mastery that I'm teaching is about this returning to who we really are. It is know thyself at the highest level. It is learning to surrender and trust and embody who we are. Not as a one-time event, not as I now know everything I ever need to know, but as a practice, as something we continually return to, we continually refine. Understanding that our trust, we must develop and nurture that trust within ourselves to be there for ourselves. And then as we see Spirit showing up for us again and again, and life showing up for us again and again. I mean, look at you. You're here. Life keeps showing up for you so you can be here with us, so that you can give your gifts to the world. And we return back to that and we become masters of who we are and of our path and of our destiny in this world. Not because we have it all figured out, not because we know everything there is to know. It's impossible. Once we know everything there is to know, we wouldn't be in physical, right? I also say this to my clients that I work with, like, when you stop having things to evolve through, like, that's when we're not talking right now in a physical sense, because you're a non-physical. This is the evolutionary journey that we're on. And so when we commit to a path of self-mastery, we are committing to our ability to surrender, but not in a state of, I have to let go and I have to let go of everything and passively await what's going to happen. This is active surrender. The JOGs attune us to this. They talk to us about this, and we're going deeper into that in Spirit-Led Mastery. But this, again, is not something that just happens one time. It's not this like, I'm going to sit around and eat bonbons and then everything's going to take care of itself. There are specific actions that we take to live a life that brings us fulfillment and peace and joy and abundance and love and awesome, because that's what we came for. And we came to know ourselves, guys. That is the belly, the underbelly of it all. The foundation, the root of it all is to really know yourself. And so we walk this very balanced line of knowing I don't have it all figured out, but I'm not going to beat up on myself. If things happen and they don't go the way that I wanted them to, or I don't show up in the way that I think that I should, blah, 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 whatever the story is, we do not judge ourselves. We do not criticize ourselves. We do not beat up on ourselves. We also do not, the other side of this is we don't let ourselves get away with our own bullshit. I have to tell you the most heartbreaking thing for me over this past, well, it's been 8 years that I've been doing this kind of work, coaching, and it started out as success coaching and then evolved into this spiritual mentorship work. But the most heartbreaking thing for me to see is to watch someone get on the path and really line up with their destiny and start making some powerful shifts. And when that happens, folks are elated. They're in a bliss state. They are just so excited because they have now shifted into a way of being and feeling that they didn't even know they could feel. And that is so much fun. And so I watch this happen time and time again. Folks start working with me. They enter a bliss state, right? They start expanding, opening up. Their awakening is occurring in this beautiful fashion. And then, because this is an evolutionary journey, shit comes up. The stuff that they've been avoiding for years starts to show itself. And it is in those moments that they get to choose. Will I lean into this? Will I trust that I have access to getting the clarity I need to become the solid, amazing, grounded, gifted, abundant, rich being that I came here to be? Or will I go back to what's comfortable and what's familiar, which is avoidance, self-sabotage, blaming others, being, pretty happy, but not deeply fulfilled, making it everyone else's fault instead of really showing up for myself and doing my work. And that is something I have to continually come back to. This is the work I do with my mentor of letting go of my attachment to how folks choose to integrate the work, how individuals choose to take this path from here, because we all have free will. We all have the free will choice to engage our path fully or to go back to what's familiar and comfortable, but not expansive and not what we came for. Right? We can take all the scenic routes we want. I can testify to this. I've taken plenty of them. Or we can live our highest path. And we know the difference because you can feel the difference, right? Like, I know what it feels like when I'm locked in fully to my destiny. And I know what it feels like when I'm avoiding, when I'm hiding out, when my stories are coming up and I don't want to see them. Right? We're pointing fingers, we're blaming others, we're pushing away, we're running away. It's just incredible. It's incredible when we can step in and say, yes, I want to know myself at the deepest possible levels. I want to live the path of my destiny. I'm going to surrender. I'm going to take action that I'm guided to, and then I'm going to surrender. I'm going to trust myself each step of the way. And I'm going to trust that I will take care of it. I will find the answers for myself, that I've got my tools, I've got my team, I've got what I need to rock out this life. Oh, and a natural byproduct of all of that is then I realize, I am the divine in a body. And then we become more embodied in that. I was at a friend's son's birthday party this past weekend, and I met someone new there, and he was asking me about my work and what I did, and he said to me, you're fully in your body. You're embodying this. And I was like, yes, I'm embodying the divine within. Yes. I wanted to say oh my gosh, I've never had someone say that, see me and say that. He was meeting me for the first time. And that's what we're talking about when you are fully present and anchored into your body as a spirit, knowing I am a spirit and I'm in a body and I'm here on a powerful mission. And I get to enjoy all of the delights and the luxuries of being in a body and being in this life. One of those luxuries is I don't have to be worried all the time. One of those luxuries is I get to live fearlessly. We're not saying you don't have fear come up. We're not saying you don't have moments where you question or worry, but you have tools that you use to navigate it. So it is not this terrible, terrible thing, right? I would feel sometimes like a worry or a fear would get a hold of me, and then I just couldn't get loose of it. The program started running. We don't have to live like that anymore because we have the tools, we have the support, and we're energetically attuned to not have to live in that way. And whenever we find ourselves there, we know what we need to do. Oh, this is a call to step up. My level of self-care, this is a call to reach out to one of my support systems. This is a call for me to spend more time in meditation to really know me. This is a call for me to feel my feelings. This is a call for me to create that thing I've been wanting to create that I've been too afraid to create for too long, and I've been pushing that back. This is the path of mastery. So how you trust yourself is you make a commitment to having a quality relationship with yourself as your first priority. And when I say a relationship with yourself, I mean all of you. Not just the physical part of you, not just the mind part of you, not just the emotional body part of you, all of you, the spirit part of you, every bit of you. And you're going to get to know who you are in all of those formats: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. And you're going to love every piece of that within yourself. And you're going to radiate that love to everyone you meet because you are a fully embodied spirit. living your destiny in surrender and trust and in joy and richness and bliss and love and all of the other delicious emotions that we get to feel on such a deep level. Awe. We're continually on this path. We talk about, I'm so in awe. I've had 3 conversations, I think the past 3 days in a row, and with different individuals, and they're like, can you just believe the awe? I'm like, I can't believe the awe. I can't, and I can because it's our daily experience, but it's just like, I can't. It's just like you think you're at the level of awe that you could be in of this life, and then you go to a new level of awe. That's what we came for. So that's how you trust yourself. You make a commitment to that relationship with yourself. And then when you need to be able to trust, you don't need to be able. It is fundamentally critical to your feeling stable and supported and awesome in this grounded earth that you're living on, to trust spirit, to trust the universe, to trust something bigger than yourself, however you want to frame that. And then to allow that trust to lead you forward. We'll be attuning you to all of this in Spirit-Led Mastery. So if you feel the call to join us, now is the time. We start in a week. Can't believe it. I'm so excited. We've got this amazing gathering of souls that are ready to live their destiny, ready to see what happens. What happens when you let go for 92 days, when you follow Spirit-Led surrender, which again is not just sitting around and doing nothing, but that you are only following the call of your soul. What does your life look like when that's your everyday, every moment experience? What happens when you're attuned at high frequencies to surrender, to trust, to embodying the divinity of who you are so that you can fully live the destiny that you came here for? What does that look like? You won't know unless you have the courage to step into it. And your life is now. It is happening right now. There's this, that, and the other thing all around you, but your life is right now. And when will you choose your destiny? When will you say, by taking action, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm going to live the fullness of this life experience. I'm going to have my tribe with me. I'm going to have supports with me, and I'm going to rock this out, because we don't do this alone. If you think I do this alone, no way. There's no way I could be here without all of the people that have supported me throughout my life, not to mention all of the non-physical energies that have been with me. And of course, the 2 mentors that I work with now that are just so critically fundamental to me being able to be the powerful being that I'm able to be in my life, to create at the level I create, to have the life that I have. Because I trust myself. I trust the guidance I receive, and I know that my guidance comes through my filters, which means when it's up for me, I'm too emotionally close to that shit. I gotta check that out. I gotta back that up. Sure, if it's about like where to go for dinner, or, what outfit to wear, or there are many things, right, that we can do no problem on our own. But there are those really intimate places for each of us where we need support. We cannot do this on our own. We can't trust every single piece that comes through, because like me, I was looking to buy an orchard when they're like, it's an orchard, Heather. We're showing you an orchard. Why do you think you have to buy the orchard? Because it came through my filters, because that's a program that I have, right? So we have this tremendous opportunity to live in this new framework. And I want to invite you into it. I want to invite you to step into this level of living, and living in community, and living with the support of living your destiny, where you learn to trust yourself at new levels, where when something comes through, okay, yeah, this is an area that is really tender for me. Okay, before I take any action on it, I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to visualize it, right? The JOGs have talked to us about this in previous programs. Like when you get an intuition, like you don't have to take action right away. Just sit with it, start visualizing it, and then let life show you, right? Spirit will start to show you. If action starts moving that forward, then that's for you. Or it might just totally go away. And then that was just something I picked up in my field, or it came through some of my filters and then it adjusted. Right? We trust ourselves to know, I'm a powerful being, but I also know I'm in human form and I've got this conditioning that I'm evolving forward. Okay, what are the ways I can work with this guidance when it comes in? So I'm not just flying off the handle, taking action here, there, and everywhere. I'm really getting more grounded with the guidance that's coming through. Now, if you're a healer or an intuitive already, you know when it comes to other people, that can be so much easier, right? Because we don't have the emotional attachment. So the guidance comes right through. So easy breezy. And yet we still have to keep our channels clear. We still have to do our work to show up in the world. So it's again, trusting myself that I'm going to do whatever it takes to have the best life experience that I can have. As you can tell, I'm so passionate about this topic because it's something that I've really had to learn for myself, because I was like, yeah, I went through this phase where I was like, oh, I'm intuitive. Okay, well, I don't have to talk with anyone else about anything else I'm doing, because I'd been in such a controlled environment. I was like, I've got intuition, I'm good to go. And then I would get intuition, I would do something, I'd be like, what the hell how am I here? And even now that still happens, but it's in a far more expanded perspective because we've got access to spirit. We've got that access to spirit team. I trust spirit. I know the guidance is coming into me. And what I've learned over time is that the more that I do my work, the more my channels are clear, the more I can trust my guidance. And if something comes through and it's an area that's particularly sticky for me or an area I'm really emotionally attached to, I give it more time to breathe, and I take it to a mentor if I need to, if I don't get the clarity I need. So we've got these practices that we can employ so that we can, and then that instills and builds our trust even more in ourself and in life and in spirit, because we're like, oh yeah, I totally worked with that energy and then I had this amazing outcome. So good. So good. So if you feel the call, join us for Spirit-Led Mastery. We start in 1 week. Go to heatherstrang.com, click on Magic, click on Spirit-Led Mastery. We'd love to have you with us for this intimate, online, immersive experience. It's 3 months together. You get 2 master classes a month with me. You get monthly meditations. You're getting 2 transmissions a week from the JOGs. So you're being attuned at high frequencies to Spirit-Led surrender, to trust on all levels, right? So self, spirit, and life. And also all along the way, supporting your embodiment of your divinity. So you can not only know that you're a spirit in a body, you can really feel it and embody that. Because when combined together, those 3 pieces, you are fully living your destiny. And that is what you came for. All right, so we've got one question that we are going to address here, and then we will wrap up our final radio show. I want to say for the season, except like what season could that possibly be? But it just sounds cool. All right, so the question is coming in. Yes, so this question, this gal is asking, she was in our Eternal Love program, and she got... At the end of the Eternal Love program, the singles were told, okay, and they had 22 days of receiving daily transmissions, so they're getting like daily upgrades, and then they had 22 days to integrate. And then at the end of that 44 days, the guidance for the singles was, you're ready to date. So we want you to start putting yourself out there in the way that feels most aligned to you, and begin to call in your next great love, your beloved, the love of your life, whatever they felt drawn to call in. Well, this gal wrote in, she did not feel the alignment to that, and she's asking about it. She's like, I know that I need to take action when there's a full body yes, but it feels totally wrong for me to do the online dating. That's immediately, apparently, when she hears dating, she hears online dating, and it feels wrong to me. So what do you say about that? So this is a beautiful and perfectly timed question for this conversation about trust, right? Because we all get guidance. If we're working with mentors, if we've worked with intuitives, we're going to get guidance. And then our job is to bring that into alignment for ourselves or not. So we'll keep it specific to this gal's question. So she's had 44 days of attunement around eternal love. And she's getting the guidance to date. And she's like, I don't want to date. I don't feel a full body yes. I'm not going to do it. So what do you do when you get the guidance, but you're just not fully feeling it? Well, you want to do exactly what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about trusting yourself. So when you get guidance and you're just not, I'm not fully 100%, right? Because you'll get guidance from yourself. You can get guidance from other sources. You're like, I'm just not 100%. Your job is then to work with that guidance and bring it into harmony for you. So dating doesn't feel right for this gal, okay? But the guidance is to date. So what can she do? She can start taking dating into her visualization and start imagining herself on dates and start working with the energy that way. Remember, your brain does not know the difference between visualizing doing something and actually doing it. And when you start working with the power of your mind, you can begin to magnetize the experiences to you that are lined up for you. So she could start taking dating into her visualization. She could start taking herself on dates. Okay, well, I don't quite feel ready to go with other people, but I've got this guidance. I know this comes from a clear channel. I know this comes from a good source, but I've got to line it up for me. So how do I find that? Okay, I'm going to start taking myself on dates. I'm going to start visualizing dating. Great. Start working with that. See what starts to happen. Oh, maybe I'll go on a friend date, right? Maybe I'm going to make a friend date once a week. And maybe I'll ask, individuals of the same sex or individuals that I'm not attracted to. And then maybe I'll branch out and maybe ask somebody that I am attracted to, but as a friend, and just kind of, see what goes from there. So she could ease her way into it with taking herself on dates, visualizing, setting up weekly friend dates, and then she could play with who she may or may not be attracted to and seeing if they want to go on friend dates, and then check back in with herself. So be committed to your process, right? So 22 days of daily integration, 22 days of integrating the full program. She's at 44 days. She's not quite feeling ready. How about I give myself 22 more days of taking myself on dates and visualizing, and then reassess and see where I'm at. And if I'm still at that place, no, I don't want to date, maybe I want to check in. Am I really afraid of having love in my life? Am I really afraid of intimacy? Maybe I want to do some more work around that. Maybe it's time to call up my mentor or schedule a session or, look at what's my next step to help address this next crop of fears that's up so that I can step into the dating piece, so that I can step into this guidance. I give the example of an intuitive that I had a session with. How it typically works for me is I work with two various mentors at this time. One does energy work, one does more of the interpersonal relating and counseling. About every 4 to 6 weeks, I have a session from both of them. So I have those sessions. And then every 3 to 5 years, I find it's going in cycles, I might get to a point where I get stuck and I'm like, okay, I'm going to call up this gal that I trust very much, who's a clear channel. She's no bullshit. Like, I know she's not going to tell me what I want to hear. We're not super close, so she doesn't know a lot about what's happening in my life. She's really detached from what's happening. So every 3 to 5 years, I call her up and say, okay, girl, I need a read on whatever this situation is. So she had given me a reading where she said, you need to have acupuncture every other week. Well, what she doesn't know is that my body totally stopped accepting needles. Like, literally, they try to put the needles into my body, would just like ping them out. So I told her that, and she's like, well, I don't know how you want to make the guidance work, but that's what came in, right? So she's totally unattached. Love it. I was like, okay, cool. So I took it into my meditation. I'm like, okay, well, I know needle-based acupuncture is not going to work for me. So that guidance isn't going to work, but she got that guidance for a reason. I trust her. So let's see if we can line it up with my guidance and with what I'm here to do. So, needleless acupuncture, hello. Energy medicine acupuncture, hello. Do it every other week. Okay, great. Score. Found the alignment. So your job you want to make sure you're working with people you really trust. That's huge, right? So, no, we're not going to follow guidance from someone we don't really trust. But if you really trust the source, this is someone who's doing their work, you trust them, you feel a soul connection, then you don't want to blow off the guidance. I will tell you that I had a reading from her, this intuitive, like 10 years ago, prior to the ovary, the tumor on my left ovary that started my whole spiritual awakening. And she said, left ovary, I'm feeling like something's there. And I was like, nah, this is when I first was new on the intuitive kick. And I was like, I know, I have intuition. I was like, no, she's wrong. There's nothing on my left ovary. I wonder what would have happened if I just gotten that checked out. Given myself some more time so it didn't have to get to like a grapefruit size, and then I was in so much pain I had to have emergency surgery. Of course, it all worked out for me, but what if I had worked with that guidance and been like, okay, I do trust her. I do know she's the real deal. Maybe I need to sit with this and see, okay, I don't feel called to go to a Western medicine doctor. Maybe there's something else I can do to address this. Maybe I can just start talking to my left ovary. right? So when you get guidance from channels that you trust and you may not feel 100% aligned with what they're sharing, and that could be because you've got blockages around that, or that could be because you just need to line it up in a different way. So sit with it and just work with it and find your comfort level. So find the place that does feel, so you're still stretching, you still want to be stretching yourself, but it's not feeling like, no, I can't do this, right? And then the other part of this question is, what would even spirit-led dating look like? And then she's like, totally, no, I hate online dating. Poor online dating. I mean, it's 2016. How else are we going to meet each other? Come on. So let's say though, online dating doesn't work for you. And I'll tell you, the thing that I see folks do wrong with online dating is they sign up on a bunch of different sites and they're not fully committed, and they're getting off of them after 1, 2, 3 months. They're not staying fully committed. My guidance is you tune in, get into meditation, tune in and ask which online dating site is the most aligned for me. Like, you can check them out, look at the ones that feel best for you, choose one, and then make a commitment. Spirit, I'm going to be on this channel to meet my beloved until I meet him or her, whether I meet them through the site or meet them just out and about. Because what the power of the online dating is that you are then energetically, you've opened up the space for love to come in. And then when you're out and about, you're more relaxed because you're like, yeah, I know, I'm taking care of the dating thing. And often what I find for folks is they'll be online dating, but then they'll meet someone out and about in their regular life who's their partner. But because they had that commitment to having that channel open and saying, okay, yes, I'm committed to this, it creates the energetic space for the partner to come through. So that's my 2 cents on online dating. So what you can do, there are many, many ways to date spirit-led. And when you do that with the online dating, you simply ask to be guided to the one portal that you're going to use, and then you make a commitment to stick with it. I'm going to stay on this. I'm not going to jump off because I feel rejected or I have tough emotions come up. You're going to have emotions come up, and your job is to work with those. Work with a mentor, work with a counselor, do your own work, do your work. It's not just, I got to go to the store and pick up, a roast beef. I've got to go to the online dating store and pick up a partner. No, this is a process. This is an evolutionary journey. So give yourself that grace. And give yourself the spaciousness for this person to come to you. There are so many ways to date. There are so many ways to call it in. And I really encourage folks to take that into meditation and ask for guidance. I had listed in the Eternal Love group, you can do speed dating, which back in the day, I did that several times and I loved it. It was so much fun. You can do speed dating. You can do meetups. You can do events and adventures. It's just lunch. You can send out an email to all of your friends and say, listen, I'm ready for love and I need your help. People love to help. And who doesn't love love, right? You can hire a specific coach or intuitive matchmaker. There are all different ways that you can support yourself in coming together with your next great love. But it doesn't happen when you're resisting the guidance you've received. Your job is to line up with it in the way that feels most aligned for you. So hopefully that answered your question. If it spurs other questions, please send in any other questions for future editions of Spirit-Led Radio, whenever that might be. We'll be on hiatus through August 2nd, and we'll see where Spirit leads from there. Of course, anything is possible. Anything can happen on this journey. So we'll see what happens next. But that's our intention at this point. We are deep diving into Spirit-Led Mastery. Again, if you feel the call to join us, please go to heatherstrang.com, click on Magic, click on Spirit-Led Mastery, and we will see you there. Thank you so much for listening. If you love this episode, please share it with all your people. And we want to get this message of living spirit-led out to all those who feel the call. Thank you so much for listening. We'd love to hear your comments. I'm sending you lots of love on this beautiful day. And remember, do your work and then trust yourself. So much love to you.